Okay, looking good. Now, just relax. And 1, 2, 3. That was painless, wasn't it?
When will they be ready?
Hour and a half. Want to wait or come back?
I'll come by tomorrow. Should I leave a deposit?
I'll trust you. It's only $5. I'll need your name and address. Usual passport size?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Lee Reynolds, 85 York.
Okay. Anytime tomorrow after 9.
Thank you.
There are over 35 lenses in the complete set. Notice the bayonet fitting there. You can go from one to the other in just a matter of seconds. Notice the ease of focus.
It's interesting. Think about that.
There are some brochures right over in the rack. May I help you, please?
I'll be right with you. I need some developing chemicals, a hypo, and some papers.
Okay.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? That is private property.
By any chance, did she say when she was leaving the country?
Oh, well, she did mention something about, getting, vaccinated this morning. I guess that means she's leaving pretty soon.
Thank you.
Someone's gonna need a frame.
Matt on that third picture, okay? First
No.
commercial break is on 14. The VTR insert, VTR 15. Oh, by the way, Ray,
Yeah.
opening slides on age.
Where's Paul?
Camera 2, stand.
Set to zoom.
Yes, stand on that camera, too. Let's check out the news picture, too, huh?
Is he here yet?
Oh, he hasn't come. Frame for picture
Camera 3, truck left to Paul with the chroma key on my cue at the end of the lead-in. All right?
I hope he's here with you because he's not here with us. I got VTR ready. I have slides, and the film is on the chain.
Good.
There's a sponsors man in the booth. I don't have Paul's notes yet at all.
I have them.
Chroma key with Paul on frame right.
Say, I don't see Paul, do you?
No, I haven't heard anything.
We ought to check on
Let me
that.
check.
It's beginning to sweat.
Any,
Let's see. Oh, yeah, camera 2. Don't
any
forget to
sign
have
of
that
Paul yet?
truck left, and then set to zoom. All right, let's see what
No
else is.
news. Paul's not in sight yet.
3.5 minutes to air.
Where's Paul?
Camera 3,
VTR
Charlie.
insert on VTR
After
14.
the lead-in.
The second VTR segment is going to run 225 instead of 230. Let me have the pen.
Engineering, the second VTR segment will run 225 instead of 230.
Gail, is he in the country?
Lend me your horn. As of 30 minutes ago, he was socked in over LA International.
Have a spare pacemaker?
Don't worry, he'll be here.
It is now 3 minutes to air. I know you're the producer, but have you anything besides woman's intuition, which is politically out of fashion at the moment, to support that reckless burst of optimism?
Nope.
Hi.
Guess who's due on the air in 1 minute and 30 seconds?
I give up.
How was the trip?
Well, I'll tell you in half an hour.
Okay.
Okay, one, truck a little bit left, would you please?
You'll truck right to include chroma
Now,
key
camera 3.
with Paul on frame right.
That's it. Audio, cue in second, ET, past the intro.
The second VTR segment will run 5 seconds short.
There he is.
Welcome back, Paul. 30 seconds, everybody. Master, stand by with the opening with the slide and film.
Your notes are on your desk. I made a cut on the second page. You'll find it. Bob?
Good. I've been sleeping in this one. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
The mic check. And while you're at it, give us a...
Look, start on a tight close-up on camera 3.
Right?
Okay?
Stand by music, stand by camera 3. Stand by to cue the booth announcer. And when I ask for a cigarette, don't give me one. And get his coat on. Come on, get your coat on. Ready, 3. Here's the time. All right, we're right on it. Coming up. 6 seconds. Give me a cigarette.
What you said?
Don't argue. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slide.
Cue titles.
Ready, 1. Take 1.
Good evening. This is Paul Savage.
Music.
This is Paul Savage. Good night.
This has been the Savage Report, a candid glimpse of our times, part expose, part facing of the facts, a front-row look at our national drama, as documented and brought to you each week by Paul Savage.
Thanks, Roy.
Good show, Paul.
Well, I'll tell you, they don't get any easier.
No, they're not supposed to.
So how are you?
Coping. You? Get any rest?
No, too busy.
Why don't you buy me an Irish coffee and tell me what happened in Washington?
Irish coffee. No, Jerry wants to see some film first. If what happened in Washington happened in Washington, I'll buy you some Irish coffee.
You'll really buy me an Irish coffee?
Just call me Sport. Stand camp, huh?
I'll slow it down.
If you've got a close-up, we've got a show.
Right here.
It's Kemp.
#1 bagman for the organization, Bahamas Division. We had a camera malfunction, but only lost a few frames.
I'll get it. Cutting room 2. Yes, he is. Yes, just a moment. Paul, it's for you, Senator Haviland from Washington.
Hello, Senator. How are you?
Just fine. I wanted to tell you that I caught your show, and I enjoyed it.
Surprised you could find the time.
Well, if you want the truth, and I'll deny it, I spent most of my time playing gin with some of your colleagues in the press room.
I won't quote you.
I thought you'd like to know that that rumor we discussed isn't a rumor.
When will it be official?
Tomorrow morning. The president will announce it at his press conference.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. And if you ever do a story on me, favor my left profile. Bye.
Now, can you tell me what happened in Washington?
Well, the Senator just made an honest woman out of a rumor. We're going to have ourselves a new Supreme Court justice, or at least a nominee.
Who?
Daniel McKenzie's turn.
We going to do a story on him?
Let's take a look at him first.
Well, now, gentlemen, if I were to comment further on that point at this time, I think it would have to be considered premature. Are there any other questions?
Your Honor, did the nomination come as a surprise?
Oh, yes, indeed. Very much so. As a matter of fact, I had no indication at all until the moment that the president called me.
And, sir, where were you when the president called?
Well, to be candid, I was in the shower singing off key.
Your Honor, you reversed the decision on Marsh versus Mason. Would you absent yourself if that went to the Supreme Court?
Well, now, that would very much depend on whether I go to the Supreme Court, and as we all know, that is up to the Senate.
Sir, do you think there's any doubt about your confirmation?
Oh, yes, indeed. There's always doubt. And just to be mentioned in connection with this high office is an honor
No
indeed.
questions for His Honor?
Just getting visually acquainted? You notice his wife?
On the personal side, Your Honor, how does your wife feel about all this?
Now, that's the sort of question I'd like to have her answer.
How about it, Mrs. Stern?
Naturally, I'm very excited.
She looks like she's here under duress.
Mary Todd Lincoln syndrome. Maybe that's our story. Profile on the wife instead of the husband. I think I'll put it right into work.
Fine. While you're at it, take a look at the rough cut of the off-track betting expose. I'd like to have something in the hopper just to be safe.
Coming?
Later. See you back at the office.
Your Honor, were there any other names you thought might precede yours on the nominations?
Excuse me. Excuse me. Where would I find Judge Stern's chambers?
Down that corridor across from courtroom B.
Thank you.
Well, now, gentlemen, we all know that there are many, many outstanding jurists in this country.
Sir, would you call yourself a strict constructionist?
Now, let me answer that by saying I'm a man who's opposed to labels.
Your Honor, what are your immediate plans?
Well, with Mrs. Stern's permission, we have a little cottage up north. I thought I might steal away for a couple of weeks, do a little fishing, contemplate my good fortune.
Will you be leaving for Washington soon, Your Honor?
Yes. Well, I think we've answered all your questions. Thank you very much. You.
You're Paul Savage, aren't you?
Have we met?
My name is Lee Reynolds. You didn't ask the great man any questions.
Neither did you.
I'm not a member of the working press.
Relative? Friend?
Friend. Great and good friend. Do I make myself clear?
I thought Judge Stern was a married man.
So he is. Maybe I should show you my, credentials.
How'd you get this?
A waiter I know likes to shoot candidates.
Why'd you bring it to me?
Because you have a national television outlet.
Which I don't use for purposes of scandal.
But what if it transcends his personal life? What if it applies to the way he'll conduct himself in Washington?
What do you want, Miss Reynolds?
U.S. currency. $5,000 to be exact.
To the decimal point. How soon?
No?
It's too soon.
I could have gone someone else, newspapers, magazines.
Why didn't you?
I suppose you won't believe me if I tell you I like your program.
I might.
If you're not interested,
I get the impression you've never done anything like this before.
I Do you think I really want to be in this position?
I don't know.
That picture is the only thing I have worth anything. It'll get me a plane ticket, pay some debts. Call it the high cost of running. Oh, look, do we have to talk about it?
Not unless you want to.
I don't know what I want. But for now, let's keep it simple and call it a business deal. Will you telephone me?
As soon as I can.
Thanks. For not putting me down.
No loss of tone, no join line, no double printing.
Well, what's the verdict?
Genuine and unretouched.
Too bad. I was half hoping it was a fake.
Well, now that you know that it isn't, I'd say you have a problem.
Well, what's the president of Network News doing on the firing line? Hello, Ted.
Hello. I just got this little requisition here for $5,000 for an unspecified photograph.
Well, consider it specified.
Well, it would be nice and easy for everybody if she turned out to be his niece, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, but then she wouldn't be hitting him up for $5,000, would she? Yeah. Well, what are you planning on working up a show around this?
Well, we don't know yet.
Oh, wonderful. So while you're deciding, I'm supposed to go out and purchase the photograph. Is that it?
It's only money, Ted.
And that's a producer. Now, look, whose side are you on, anyway?
Well, the phrase, between the devil and a deep blue sea comes to mind.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've come very close to you people because of my deep sense of honesty.
Well, that sounds like a prelude to a turn down.
You've got it. At this point, I will not authorize the purchase.
Why not?
Because in the first place, I want you to think about what you're opening up here. We need facts.
There's a fact.
No, it's not enough. We need much more than that. We're talking about a presidential appointee.
Are you asking us to forget about it?
Just proceed with caution, that's all.
Noted. And, in front of a witness.
Now, who'd listen to him? The kid needs a haircut.
I haven't been able to reach Lee Reynolds.
I'm on my way to her apartment now. What happened here?
She was in and out. Never said anything to anybody. I can't believe this. I can't believe it. Right off there.
What happened here?
A girl just went off the 15th floor, sir. Right off there. See that terrace up there?
What was her name?
Lee Reynolds, sir.
So you all have copies of the police report. Now, at this moment, they don't have a single clue. Her apartment is sealed and under guard.
How's the death classified?
Suicide, homicide, accidental, check marks next to all three.
Now, Paul, you filled us in the background, but what exactly do you want us to do?
Well, I wish I could tell you. But let's proceed as if we're doing a profile on Judge Stern. Now, the Reynolds girl, is a corollary. So let's find out her connection with him, her bio, anything we can. But let's do it with a minimum of noise. Okay?
What about film? I mean, if I'm going to start aiming my cameras at people, they'll want to know why.
Well, Jerry, I think you got the perfect cover. This week, half the world will be pointing cameras at Judge Stern. Right?
Right.
Now, Jerry, well, that film you shot the other...
Excuse me, Jerry.
What's wrong with it?
Anything?
I spent some time at Lee Reynolds' apartment this morning. Came up with a possible clinker.
What kind of a clinker?
A married couple, the Donald Mortons, manage it. Now, they've disappeared. No clothes in their closets, no forwarding address. I'll follow it up.
Yeah. Do you talk to the doorman?
Well, he doesn't come on duty until tonight.
Jerry. Yeah. Take a film crew and interview the doorman at his house, okay?
Okay.
I'll meet you downstairs.
Okay.
Let me ask you, how are your contacts with the police department? Still viable?
Well, the police commissioner asked me to lunch last week and the week before.
Take him up on it. I need every string in the book pulled.
Going out on a limb?
No, on a terrace. So this is where she went over, huh?
That's right. No marks on the railing either.
Prints?
Smears.
Any sign of a struggle?
Look, I was ordered to let you in here. I wasn't ordered to give you official police information.
Who told you not to?
Nobody.
So it's a unilateral decision, right?
Yeah, I guess it was.
All right, Lieutenant, what if I tell you I will not give out any information without clearance from your department? Nothing goes to the press.
Look, Mr. Savage, you say
Now, wait a minute, don't lean on me, and let's not compete. Let's try to help each other.
No signs of a struggle. Sliding glass doors to the terrace was open. We closed them to prevent the wind from blowing in.
It's quite a lot of space. I bet you spent a fortune in rent, huh?
Something that bothers me. I've got a note here. She paid $200 a month less than the other tenants in comparable units.
Who owns this building?
J.R. Associates, parent company owned by a man named Riker.
Riker. Joel Riker.
That's right. You know?
No. Know of him. Throws more parties than Jay Gatsby. Lives in Bel Air. Hates to be photographed.
Jay Gatsby. Hello. Yeah, hold it. It's for you.
Hello?
We're with the doorman at his apartment. Do you want to come over?
I'll catch it in the projection room.
All right, see you there.
Right.
We're rolling.
I could put a tie on if you like.
No, you're just fine as you are. Would you mind looking at this picture, please? Have you ever seen that man before?
Yes, ma'am, sure have.
Where?
On the news. He's running for some office or something, isn't he?
Yes, I meant in person. At the building where you work, for instance.
No, ma'am. At least not on my shift.
You sure?
Positive. I watch those front doors like a hawk.
Lee Reynolds, did she have any visitors, male or female?
None that I can remember.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, when will this be on?
We'll let you know.
Thank you.
Cut it. Here.
Well, it's not much help.
Look, call Stern. You know you want to.
That's what I like about you, Jerry, the way you never come to the point.
He's right, you know.
Who said he wasn't?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marion. Happy birthday to you. The Metropolitan Opera couldn't have sung it better.
Did you make a wish, my dear?
Oh, she's not telling. That would spoil it. Oh, this is so wonderful, such a marvelous
Telephone for you, sir. I'm Mr. Savage.
Oh, I'll have to call her back.
He says it's very important, sir.
Can I have this?
Wait 1 second.
What do you know? Yes, that one. All right. Thank you.
Judge Stern speaking.
Sorry to bother you, sir. My name is Paul Savage. We don't know each other.
Now, I know who you are, Mr. Savage. But if this is a request for an interview, I'm in the...
No, it isn't. I want to talk to you about a girl named Lee Reynolds.
Do you know the story about the doctor, the lawyer, and the politician who were shipwrecked together in a boat? And one of them had to jump into the water.
So they had to draw lots. And you know what? The lawyer lost. And he jumped in.
Could you come to my office?
Of course.
I heard about the accident on the news. I wasn't certain if it was my friend. I'll leave here right away.
Isn't that a wonderful story, Bob? You carry him. Oh, me? Oh, you... All right.
Is anything wrong?
Nothing for you to worry about, my dear. But I will have to leave here for an hour or so.
Something bothering you?
Suppose I'm not used to this sudden ejection from the cloisters. Newspapers, television, I'm beginning to feel bombarded.
It'll be over soon.
I know. You don't like it either?
Oh, I don't mind, really.
Well, thanks for putting up with all this.
Daniel, I did make a wish.
I never doubted it. Mr. Savage?
Your Honor?
Let's get some light. I'm gonna miss this place. When I was younger and we were waiting for a jury, I used to sleep in here. Tell me about Lee Reynolds.
Well, I just met her yesterday. She talked about you. We set up a second meeting, and of course, it never took place. A few hours later, she was dead.
Terrible, terrible thing. I didn't know her very well, but she was a very decent girl. I met her exactly 3 times, twice at parties.
And the third?
A few months back, she called me, asked me to join her for a drink. And she was a very pretty girl. I am human, so I met her at a restaurant.
That's where the picture was taken.
I'm not aware of any picture.
A snapshot of the two of you in a booth.
Hmm? May I see it?
Sure. I have a duplicate here. The original's in my office.
Well, that could be Exhibit A, prima facie evidence. We were together, happily, even romantically.
The picture was taken by a waiter with a miniature camera.
Did Lee tell him to do it?
Yes.
Did she say why?
Yeah. Your Honor, do you know the meaning of the word for fear of high places?
I believe it's acrophobia.
It's blackmail.
Oh, no, Mr. Savage, that is a matter of interpretation. Lee may have taken that picture to keep, to remember, but blackmail, no.
She wanted me to pay her $5,000 for this picture. I'm sorry to have to tell you that.
Mr. Savage, by reputation, you are a responsible man. How much of this do you intend to make public?
None of it, at least not for now. There's too much still unresolved.
But at some later time?
I can't really speak for later.
Well, I guess we've said enough. I've got a party I have to get back to. As for Lee, I certainly can't imagine her being capable of hurting anyone. Except perhaps herself.
I did not personally know Lee Reynolds. It seemed that she died and was to be buried among strangers. At the last, there is an end to loneliness. For we are all together as one and the same, without difference between us. So we say farewell now, knowing that the sorrow of a parting gives way in the fullness of time to a quiet and everlasting union. Deliver me, O Lord, from everlasting death, on that dread day when the heavens and the earth shall be moved. And thou shalt come to judge the world by fire. I am struck with fear and trembling at the thought of judgment and the wrath to come. And the heavens and the earth shall be moved, and thou shalt come to judge the world by fire. That day is a day of wrath, of wasting, and of misery. A dreadful day, and exceeding bitter. And thou shalt come to judge the world by fire. Eternal rest grant unto her, O Lord, and let your perpetual light shine upon her. Lord, have mercy on us. Christ, have mercy on us. Kyrie eleison, Christi eleison, Kyrie eleison. Our God is our refuge and strength, a helper in troubles which have found us exceedingly. Therefore we will not fear when the earth shall be troubled.
Miss.
The mountains shall
Miss.
be removed into the heart of the sea.
Miss.
Their waters roared and were troubled with this.
Miss, may I have a word with you?
Stream of the river maketh the city strong.
Excuse me. May I have a word with you? May I speak with you?
Come and behold ye the works of the Lord, what wonders he hath done upon earth, and making wars to cease even to the end of the earth. He shall destroy the bow, break the weapons, the shield he shall burn in the fire. Be still and see that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations.
Her name is Allison Baker.
We ought to get out of television and start a detective agency.
The staff took that ribbon to 43 flower shops. They matched the grain. They checked the wholesale purchase of roses, pinpointed the time, and came up with the name.
Allison Baker. Sounds familiar.
It should. Let me show you something. All right. Roll the film, please. Check the arc for color, please.
In a quiet moment, in a secluded place,
Is that her?
Mm-hmm.
beauty goes everywhere. Remember, even when you're alone, you know when you're beautiful. A paint box of color. A different you every day. Cosmetics to make him love you.
That's enough. Thank you. She's a commercial model. Does spots on all the networks, including ours.
How does she fit into this?
Ask me something I can answer.
You think she's pretty?
That I can answer.
I can always tell the man who's wearing spring mint aftershave.
Okay, cut it. Honey. Boys, I asked you to be deadpan, but I want an alive deadpan. Cameras, you pull focus too soon. Reload now so we don't waste any more time. Time is money, and it's my career. Scaramouche, that sword is practical. Watch how you use it. Listen, we're not starring the slate in this commercial. In and out, and don't clap it in her ear. She's tone deaf. Well, honey, that was really lovely, but I want to try one more for insurance. But this time, if you could give me more...
Could you hold that for a minute? I'll
Sure,
be right
if you
back.
could give me,
How did you find me?
Famous faces have agents. Left a trail of roses.
That was very foolish.
Not really. They brought us together. My name is Paul Savage.
I know. You also have a famous face.
Mind if we talk?
Yes, but I suppose you'll insist anyway.
Uh-huh. How long did you know Lee Reynolds?
Only a few months.
How'd you meet her?
At a party. We were both there alone, and we talked and found we had similar interests. So we spent some time together, mostly at parties.
These parties were hosted by Joel Riker?
I guess I should have expected you to be well informed. Yes, they were Joel's parties.
Why were you there?
Well, now, we're never going to get any place if you're afraid to ask me direct questions.
Sorry. Can I rephrase it?
Joel likes models and actresses. We're artifacts. Some people like to decorate a room with flowers, and Joel likes to do it with women.
And And what do these artifacts get in return?
Oh, a pleasant evening. A chance to meet some influential people.
Did Riker know Lee Reynolds?
Well, her name was on the guest list. I suppose he did.
Allison!
I'm coming.
You met at a party and spent some time together, right?
You don't have to know someone forever to go to their funeral, you know? Maybe it bothers me when lonely girls kill themselves.
Supposing she didn't kill herself. Supposing she was murdered.
Murdered?
Allison!
I'm coming. Was she murdered?
What do you think?
I don't know. I didn't know her that well.
And I don't believe you. You were so emotional at the funeral you couldn't talk.
I have to go back to work, Mr. Savage.
Paul.
Look, all these people are waiting for me.
You don't ever want to see me again, huh?
Oh, well.
So we'll see you soon.
The Mortons managed Lee Reynolds' apartment building, right?
Right.
I mean, why would the managers of a high-rise apartment house suddenly split and check into a motel 5 miles away?
It makes no sense. We're going to try to make sense out of it.
Know what kind of car they're driving?
No, I don't. All I know is what the day doorman told me. He said he brought them their mail. And he said that there was a letter from this place.
Well, so maybe a friend was writing to them.
I don't think so.
Why?
It's only a few miles from the apartment building. I think they were trying to make reservations in advance. And the letter was a confirmation.
So you think the Mortons got scared and are hiding out here?
It's worth looking into, isn't it? Wish me luck.
Good day, just you alone?
No, I'm not checking in. I'm looking for some friends of mine, the Donald Mortons.
No Morton's registered.
Oh, I was sure they were here. They've probably been here for a few days. They're a couple in their mid-30s.
Well, the only couple that fit that description are the Webbers. They're very popular today.
Why do you say that?
There are 2 men banging on their door just a couple of minutes ago.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Say, why all this interest in...
The Mortons.
With company.
Are you in tight?
I'm at 120 going to 250. Oh, yeah. That is pretty.
Loved by the critics.
God, I love it.
Killed.
Yeah.
Let's run it again.
Back up, please.
Check out the license plate.
It's in the process. Rudy's calling motor vehicles.
Forward, please.
Okay, freeze it, freeze
Freeze
it.
frame.
Are you sure those are the Mortons?
Positive. They fit the description I got at Lee Reynolds' apartment building.
Question is, who were the guys with them?
They don't look like LAPD to me. Notice the haircuts? Short, close-cropped, business suits, mid-30s.
Federal officers.
Well, Jerry, you did it again. I think you got footage of an arrest.
Lights?
Curiouser and curiouser.
What about the staff? Did they come up with anything?
Nothing on the Mortons, nothing on Lee Reynolds. The only thing we do know is that she hasn't had a job in over a year.
Yet she lived in a luxurious apartment that wasn't cheap even though she got a reduced rent.
Which means the landlord had more than a passing interest.
Yeah, but Joe Riker didn't keep women. Just used them.
Yes. It's for you.
Savage? Yeah, Rudy. Uh-huh. Right. Okay, thanks. License plate, federal agency unspecified.
Why would the federal government be involved with a local suicide case?
Well, I'll let you know when I get back.
From where?
Washington.
Mr. Savage, my name is Russell. This conversation is being recorded. I hope you don't mind.
Not if you don't.
I have instructions to be candid with you. However, we do request something in return.
What's that?
You have some film of 2 of our agents making an arrest. I'd like your word that you'll return the negative and any duplicates that may have been made. Where are you going?
Back to Los Angeles.
You're being very unrealistic.
It's a personal idiosyncrasy. It shows up when anyone tries to interfere with my free right of inquiry.
Well, it's merely a precaution. We like to protect our agents, and that film could become stolen or misplaced.
I'm perfectly capable of looking after its safety.
No doubt. Forget I mentioned it.
Can I sit over here or are we still playing Kafka?
You can sit wherever you'd like, and I'm at your disposal.
Why so cooperative?
Well, we feel that our investigation parallels yours. We thought it might be best if we briefed you before you put anything on the air. Does that interfere with your personal right of inquiry?
I'll let you know if it does.
Thank you. Lee Reynolds, Mortons, Allison Baker. A very rare item. A photograph of Joel Riker.
Who's that with him?
His name is Peter Brooks. He's a quasi-lawyer, assistant, bodyguard, general functionary.
All right, you've given me pieces. Do they fit together?
We think so. Focus is Riker. How much do you know about him?
Not enough.
He's immensely wealthy, collects conglomerates, but his main interest is politics. He's backed candidates, funded PR campaigns, puts out newsletters.
All in the tradition of participatory democracy, huh?
Yes, well, up to a point. But recently, he's become frustrated because no matter how hard he tries, he's been unable to influence policy. So he's taken to throwing parties.
Retiring to the sidelines.
Not quite. In fact, it's the most effective thing he's ever done.
Well, go on.
He invites important people, and they come, fly in from New York, from Washington, and then he unleashes his secret weapon.
Beautiful women, huh?
Beautiful women. Sometimes nothing happens, but sometimes liaisons are formed. Relationships which last well beyond the parties.
Yeah, which can tend to put a man in a compromising position, particularly if he's married, wants to avoid a scandal.
Particularly if Riker points that out to him. After that, suggestion about a piece of legislation, a mention of an important vote, Riker has what he's always wanted. The power to affect the system.
The girls, they all in on it?
No, just a few. The rest are just, innocent guests.
But not Lee Reynolds, huh?
No. It's clear that she was involved.
Deeply enough to have been killed?
It's possible. There's evidence that she was planning to leave the country. Riker may have thought she was going to speak to us first.
Allison Baker?
Well, again, we don't know.
Well, that leaves the Mortons, huh?
Paid by Riker. He sent the money to keep an eye on Lee. Running out was their idea.
Lee's rent. Did Riker pay it?
We doubt that because the checks were signed by a law firm, Severs and Block. There's no connection between them and Riker. Everything clarified?
Well, it's a start. Oh, thank you for your time.
No more questions?
Just one. After all that, do you smoke it or put it in a glass case?
Well, what do you think of that? Just a little pair of deuces.
evening.
You'd think he'd call these off after Lee Reynolds' death.
Why should he? As far as he knows, he's not connected.
Wonder how he feels about gate crashers.
We'll soon find out. Recognize anybody?
I see the consulates are well represented. One of our better syndicated columnists. The deputy mayor. 3 bankers.
The state senator.
Senator Stoddard. That isn't his wife, is it? She looks much too young.
No, it's not his wife. Mrs. Stoddard is in Greece, sightseeing.
I'll call it for what I have. All right.
Mr. Savage, would you come with me, please? Mr. Riker would like to speak with you.
Go ahead, Paul. I'll be fine.
This way.
What do you think of the art?
I think it's quite interesting. Why don't we look at it?
Let's try it. Should be fun.
What have you got? That beats me.
Oh, there you are, Mr. Savage. Welcome. Oh, this is a pleasure. A pleasure. I'm so glad that you could come.
It's very kind of you, Mr. Riker, considering the fact I wasn't invited.
Oh, surely you must know that a man of your reputation doesn't need an invitation. The oversight was mine, not yours. Oh, you greatly honor me by coming. Oh, these parties are the only pleasures of a foolish old man with nothing much else to do, except, of course, for my hobby. Are you interested in illuminated manuscripts?
Incunabula?
Oh, you recognize the term. Oh, excellent. Here is the Book of Hours. Huh? Most beautiful. And here are the jewels of my collection in these cases. A Gutenberg Bible, the Shakespeare First Folio, and here are my first editions. Peter Brooks here tells me I live too much in the past. But then I find that the past has so much more to offer than the present. Don't you agree?
Well, certainly less threatening, yes.
You are very much a man of the present, Mr. Savage. And so much more capable of influencing it than the rest of us.
You overestimate me, Mr. Riker.
Oh, no, I followed your career. You see, Armed Forces Radio, war correspondent, newspapers, magazines, and now your own weekly television show. You wield a great deal of power, Mr. Savage.
Yes, and responsibility.
Oh, yes, that goes without question. But it must be extraordinary to feel that you're influencing the course of events.
Well, Mr. Riker, we all have our own ways of making our opinions known. I've heard you're a man of very strong convictions. How do you implement them?
Oh, I suppose by talking to people just such as yourself. For instance, if you responded to some foolish idea of mine, you might even carry it further.
Interesting approach, dropping ideas on the right ears.
You'd be surprised how effective it can be at times.
Especially if they're well motivated to listen.
Well, that goes without question.
Well, I think I've kept you long enough. I'll leave you to your Book of Hours.
Please feel free to call again whenever you wish.
Thank you. Perhaps next time I'll come alone.
Well, why is that?
Great many beautiful women here. Or hadn't you noticed?
Oh.
You should have asked him to leave.
Come now, Peter, that would have been excessive.
I saw him with Lee Reynolds. I told you that.
Do I assume that she discussed me?
I think we should find out.
Oh, yes, Peter. But with discretion. With discretion.
You.
Can't stay away? Or do you enjoy being an artifact?
Maybe I'm here for the same reason you are. You started me thinking the other day. You're a very tenacious man.
And you were very guarded. I want to apologize, though.
For what?
For bearing down. You know, I read the file on your career. You worked your way up by yourself, and you never accepted any presents.
Which makes me an honest working girl in your eyes. Uncorrupted.
Something like that.
So you want to know why I'm here? Why I come to these parties? You're asking yourself, who does she owe a favor to?
Why do I answer myself?
Nothing. Because there's one piece of information you don't have. So I'll give it to you. I met Mr. Riker about a year ago. Things weren't going so well. So he sent me to a modeling agency. Later, I found out he was one of the owners.
I see, and this act of kindness put you on the map, so to speak.
Well, it gave me a chance to establish myself.
What do you want in return?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, you do. Maybe you haven't been involved with what's been happening here, but Lee Reynolds was, and you knew it.
Whatever I know won't bring Lee back.
No, but if you can care enough to mourn her death, maybe you can care enough to help me find the truth.
How can I do that?
For one thing, you can ask your benefactor a few questions. They were watching us the whole time. If you want to talk, give me a call, huh?
Thank you.
You don't seem to be enjoying yourself this evening.
No, I don't suppose I am.
My dear, is something troubling you?
Good evening, Mr. Riker.
Oh, yes, nice evening, yes.
I'd rather not talk about it.
Well, as you wish. But I couldn't help but notice that you were talking to Mr. Savage early this evening. Are you two old friends?
No, I only just met him.
Well, I wouldn't say too much to him if I were you.
Are you warning me?
Warning you? No, I don't understand. You see, he's a working member of the press. But sometimes has professional reasons for these relationships.
How very kind of you to be concerned for my welfare.
Allison, you're a lovely and intelligent girl. But the best of us could use advice sometimes, can't we?
Joel, what happened to Lee Reynolds?
You know very well what happened to her. She had a most unfortunate accident.
I know what she was doing for you. She told me.
I beg your pardon?
Joel, please be honest with me. Is there any connection between...
It's evident that you aren't enjoying yourself this evening, Allison. To think too much is to be unhappy much, said Madame Butterfly. Go home, rest, and I'll talk to you when you're feeling better.
Sorry to pull you away. You were surrounded by admirers.
My admirers, as you call them, were lawyers connected with the law firm of Severs and Block.
The name on Lee Reynolds' rent checks. What'd you find out?
The firm reorganized a number of years ago. You might be interested in the name of one of its original partners.
Daniel Mackenzie Stern.
You knew?
Educated guess.
What now?
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to put the judge back in the witness box. Your Honor?
Mr. Savage.
I called your house. Your wife said you were working late.
I'm afraid that's not quite accurate. I came here to meditate, if that's not too old-fashioned a word. You think a man would reflect on the future in his own home, in the privacy of his own study. But it seems that this has become my home. Now I'm leaving it.
Presumably for something better.
Quite true. But a courtroom's still a courtroom, even in Washington. But that's not what you came to talk about, is it?
No, it's not. Came to talk about Lee Reynolds. You said you'd met her at one of Joel Riker's parties.
You mentioned that name as if it was some sort of an accusation. Sit down, Mr. Savage.
Thank you.
Mr. Savage, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if executives from your own network were invited to Mr. Riker's house.
Quite possible. But I doubt very much whether they'd have a connection with the law firm of Severs and Block.
You are building some sort of a case against me, aren't you?
But if my facts are wrong, I think this is a perfect time to set them straight.
You expect me to help you damage my family, my career? Journalists are not omniscient, Mr. Savage. They can take a harmless series of events and distort them out of all proportion.
Lee Reynolds went off the terrace of the apartment you paid for. Distortion effect.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. Now it's an apartment that I paid for. Mr. Savage, I advanced a marginal sum toward the rental of that apartment as a loan.
What do you consider marginal?
I don't remember.
Do you remember if she paid you back?
As a matter of fact, she didn't. And frankly, I don't care. Now, if you feel that compromises me beyond redemption...
I'm not judging you, sir. That is the function of the Senate. But if facts exist that bear on your right to hold a public position, it is my obligation to make those facts known.
It's a free society, Mr. Savage. Do as you wish. But we have nothing further to discuss.
I heard, what would you call them? Contentious voices?
All the way down to the car?
Not quite. I came up because there was a message on the service.
From who?
Allison Baker.
What you want?
You, apparently. She said she couldn't get your home address, so she'd be waiting for you at your office.
When, tonight?
Kind of gives you the feeling she doesn't want to be left alone, doesn't it?
You're what?
Hasn't he shown up yet?
Oh, no.
You sure he's gonna meet you here?
As soon as he gets my message.
Well, there's coffee at the end of the hall.
Thank you. Don't you find it odd that someone's waiting for him at this hour?
Happens all the time.
Who's there? Who's there? Please, talk to me. Talk to me, please.
Hello, Allison.
Don't you ever get tired of doing what he tells you to, Mr. Brooks?
Well, it has its compensations.
So what now? Are we going up on the roof for another fall? Another suicide?
I don't enjoy this. It would really help if you'd be cooperative.
I've been too cooperative already.
I'm sorry, Miss Baker.
Like you were sorry about Lee? At least Lee had the courage to try and get away.
Oh, but she did talk to you.
She tried, but I was afraid to listen. I even convinced myself that her death was an accident.
Well, if it's any consolation, yours will be the same.
Hello, Mr. Brooks. How do you like being on television? Where are you? In the control booth. Making sure you're in focus. Mr. Brooks? There's some technical information I think you should know, Mr. Brooks. This red light means this camera's activated. There's a wide-angle lens so that you and Miss Baker are in full view. The controls are on videotape recording, so that we have a permanent record of your performance tonight, complete with soundtrack.
Records can be destroyed.
The tape runs through master controls. Our night engineers have already seen it and have called the police. Don't you think it's rather senseless, killing someone in front of all those witnesses, Mr. Brooks? Allison, call the police.
Yes, sir. Aren't they on their way?
Not unless I practice ESP. You see, Mr. Brooks, I neglected to tell you one technical thing. It takes half an hour, 30 minutes, for a TV camera to warm up. Unless it's ready, it can't send out a recognizable picture.
Judge Stern has been closeted with the Senate Judiciary Committee for the past hour and a half. Reports are that the questioning is perfunctory and that there should be no problems with confirmation later in the week.
They just arrested Riker. He's trying to post bail.
No way. Charge of accessory to murder. It's blackmail, extortion. Even his lawyers can't get him out.
For instance, there are a number of factors involved.
Uh-oh. I think we're under surveillance.
Capitol Hill, elsewhere around the nation, observing the political scene. Yes.
Hold on.
Hello, Gail.
Hi, Ted. Have fun. I'm gonna light some fires under some people at the studio.
Well, there doesn't seem to be any hang-ups about the problem, so...
Atomic fever, Ted?
You know, I prefer Washington to L.A. What do I need, a motive to be here?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you're right. Look, do you mind if I borrow you for a moment?
However, in this particular instance, there are a number of factors involved, and it's felt by most of the...
You know, a lot of people will be very unhappy if you do this expose on Judge Stern. They think he's a very good man.
I know, that's a problem.
Matter of fact, our Washington Bureau predicts confirmation, but if you bring up this Lee Reynolds business...
How much will you back me, Ted? I mean, considering all the pressure that's on you.
Who said I'd back you at all?
What does that mean?
It means that it'd be a lot easier for everybody if we just dropped the whole thing.
Yeah, maybe. Not easier for me.
You know, I knew you'd say that. All right, consider yourself backed. But before you decide what to do, someone down the hall wants to talk to you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Savage.
Afternoon.
I appreciate your seeing me.
It's my pleasure, Mrs. Stern.
Well, I'll get right to the point. Yesterday, my husband spent several hours talking to the Attorney General in the Justice Department.
Yes, I heard.
And by now, of course, the president and his advisors are well aware of what Daniel was involved in.
And apparently, so are you.
Yes. He told me a few days ago. In any event, if the government had felt that Daniel had done anything unsuitable, they'd have withdrawn his nomination.
Probably.
And as you know, they haven't. Which means that they are convinced that he has in no way compromised his position. And now, Mr. Savage, the only thing that could ruin his confirmation would be if certain personal facts were aired on television.
Yes. Yes, it would hurt him.
It would be so totally unfair. My husband is a man who could never betray his country's trust.
Mrs. Stern, that is what we're talking about. What makes you so sure?
I don't understand what you mean.
What if Lee Reynolds had done what they wanted her to do? What if she hadn't panicked? What if she hadn't run? Just how much influence would they, Riker, have had on your husband on the bench? What if he were to meet another girl tomorrow?
Mr. Savage, for several years, I have been under psychiatric care. I haven't been much of a wife to my husband. But he's loved me, and he's waited patiently for my recovery. And he'd be less than human if he hadn't felt excluded and lonely. So he met Lee Reynolds, and he had lunch with her. And he gave her some money. And that was the extent of his unethical behavior.
Nothing more.
Nothing more. Fortunately, now I've completed my analysis, and I can be a wife again, I assure you of that. So I hope that you'll take all of this into consideration. And I hope that you'll allow him a life of public service.
Yes, I would say so. The senator's gentlemen were very genial, but also very thorough.
Judge, now that the whole session's over with, how do you feel?
In a word, relieved. 4 hours of answering questions, usually on the other end, it's a bit of a strain, as you might guess.
Judge, did you come away from today's session with a positive reaction?
Well, I think I would have to say that the questions were not unfriendly. Mrs. Stern, ladies and gentlemen. My dear.
Judge, can you tell us how Mrs. Stern feels about this?
Well, I think I could answer that for Mrs. Stern. We've been sharing things ever since I was a law student. I think we'll share this, too. Any more questions? Mr. Savage? Anything you'd like to ask?
No, Your Honor, no questions at this time.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. I guess that about wraps it up.
You know what time it is?
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Mrs. Stern.
I don't think we're going to make it.
It's going to be close. Let's go with the off-track betting story. It's more topical. Jerry should have a final cut by the time we get back.
Good. We'll bump tonight's story and go with that next week.
Right.
The end of the break. Yeah, no, that first commercial break is on 14. By the way, Paul shown up.
No, he hasn't checked in yet. We're 4 minutes ahead. We got
There he is. Well, he made it.
20 seconds to air. Hello. Listen, we've got the VTRs up, the horse racing footage all worked out fine. I'll tell you about it when we get there.
Master, stand by with the opening of the slide and film. Stand by music, stand by camera 3, stand by cue the booth announcer. And when I ask for a cigarette, don't give me one. 6 seconds. Give me a cigarette.
What you said?
Don't argue. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening. This is Paul Savage.
Loved by the critics.
God, I love it.
Killed by the networks.
What, are you crazy?